There comes a moment in every life, not once but many times, when the outer world appears fixed, frozen, immovable. A moment when circumstances wear the mask of permanence and reality, like stone, seems carved by forces beyond your reach. But you must know this: that mask is a lie. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is final. Nothing is outside the reach of the one who remembers, I am. Before the world was formed, you were. Before the name, before the nation, before the facts, before the form, you existed as awareness, as the only power that speaks and sees and gives life to what is seen. To shift into your desired reality is not to change the world, but to change your assumption of the world. The world bends not because you fight it, but because you forget it and remember yourself. The world you call real is nothing more than the echo of your former self's assumptions. And when you see it rightly, not as substance, but as shadow, not as law, but as echo, then you hold the key to every door. The universe does not resist you. It reflects you. The condition is not the cause. It is the consequence. So do not wait for the condition to change. Speak the new cause, and the effect must obey. Just as surely as the flame casts light, so too does your inner word command your outer world. All that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your own consciousness, and it is outpictured onto the screen of space. Let us begin there, with the sacred realization that reality is not a thing to enter, but a thing to assume, and the assumption, when persisted in, becomes fact. To shift, you must first abandon the idol of fact. Yes, abandon it. It has served you long enough. The idol of what is must be cast down from its throne if you are to step into what must be. For what you see is only what you once assumed, and to see differently, you must assume differently. You must dare to forsake your senses. You must dare to appear mad, to stand before a world of facts and speak only of fulfillment. Abraham did this, and he became the father of nations. Noah did this, and he built the ark in a desert. Joseph dreamed while in chains. David ruled with a sling. They were not different from you. They were men who learned to shift, not by effort, not by toil, but by identity. Shifting into your desired reality is not a trick, nor is it a performance for the heavens. It is the inner act of knowing. The knowing that what you claim in consciousness is more real than the world you touch. For the world you touch is dying, but the world within you is eternal. Speak to yourself, not as one who hopes, but as one who remembers. Do not beg the universe. Speak to it as a son speaks to his inheritance, without fear, without doubt, without apology. The Father and I are one. You do not shift by pleading or by pleading louder. You shift by dwelling, by planting your awareness not where your feet are, but where your heart is already fulfilled, where you are loved, where you are chosen, where you are the man or woman you were born to be. And if the world contradicts it, let it. It must contradict, for it is slow to catch the fire of the new assumption. But persist in it, and the contradiction will melt. The fact will fade. The old shell of your former self will shatter, for you do not enter the new life. You become it. So walk as if it were already true, not as a performance, but as a principle. You must feel it as done. That is the law. That is the secret. The universe does not respond to need. It responds to the conviction of fulfillment, not a hollow echo of want, but the living weight of assumption. To shift is not to strain. It is to surrender. Surrender the lie that what is visible is master, and return to the truth that you are the cause clothed in form. Your outer world is an obedient servant, not a tyrant. It bends to your inner conversations. It listens to the tone of your inner monologue. It memorizes what you repeat within and projects it faithfully, not to punish, but to mirror. If your world seems hostile, stop looking outward and turn within. What are you saying to yourself when no one hears? What do you expect each day when you rise? What have you accepted as natural, as ordinary, as just the way things are? These are the builders of your reality. You will never shift into a higher life while dragging the language of your old one behind you. Words are not decoration. They are containers of power. Every word you speak impresses the field of consciousness. Every idle phrase, every sarcastic quip, every whispered doubt, these are seeds, and the field does not care whether the seed is wheat or thorn, it grows both. So speak with the weight of one who knows. Stand in the new state. Clothe yourself in its feeling. Not for 5 minutes, not once a week, but as a law of life. Live there. Let your prayers be thanksgivings, not pleadings. Let your imaginal acts be rehearsals of joy, not escape. Let your inner scenes rehearse not what you fear, but what you have already received. This is the unseen rehearsal of kings. This is the quiet power behind those who rise while others sleep. This is the law that turns paupers into princes. You must not wait for the world to catch up before you believe. You must believe, and the world will race to rearrange itself around your new center of gravity. You are not bound by time. Time is your servant. The moment you assume a new identity, time begins moving pieces to fulfill it. People appear, doors open, circumstances adjust, not because you forced them, but because your new self called them forth. Imagine you are the conductor of a great orchestra and the world is your music. But only what you feel yourself to be can be played. Feel yourself poor, and the instruments of the world will harmonize with lack. Feel yourself alone, and it will compose loneliness. But feel yourself wealthy, chosen, joyful, unstoppable, and reality must arrange itself into that masterpiece. The key is persistence. Do not look to see if it is working. Keep your gaze inward. Keep your inner speech pure. Do not mix your seed. A double-minded man receives nothing, not because he is unworthy, but because he is unstable. Say yes and no to the same desire, and the soil is confused. Choose and do not look back. Burn the ships, close the exit, flood your mind with only the end you desire, until it becomes natural, automatic, and familiar, until the thought of failure feels like fiction, until doubt becomes foreign. Would you have a new life? Then become new in mind. Would you walk among the mighty? Then assume the nature of one who is mighty. Would you rise beyond your present form? Then see yourself as already risen. Do not wait for the world to confirm. That is not faith, that is sight. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is not passive, it is not fragile. It is the fire behind every cathedral, every invention, every revolution. It is the unseen engine behind the lives of those who shifted reality, not by asking, but by declaring. This is how the shift happens, not with struggle, but with surrender to a new conviction, not with worry, but with stillness, not with waiting, but with assuming. You are the Word made flesh. The I am within you is not a metaphor. It is the creative center of the universe itself. When you say, I am, you summon creation. And whatever you attach to I am becomes your reality, slowly, then suddenly. So be vigilant. Do not say, I am tired, unless you wish to wear fatigue. Do not say, I am lost, unless you desire to wander. Instead, speak what you choose to become, and become what you have spoken. I am whole, I am guided, I am powerful, I am free. Let these be your dwelling place. Your reality is not delayed, it is defined. Defined by the intensity of your inner convictions, by the images you hold sacred in the sanctuary of your imagination. All that ever was and ever will be begins there. You are not a spectator in this life, you are the architect, the designer, the first cause. And the world, it is your reflection, not your master. Do not attempt to change the mirror. Do not scratch at the glass in frustration. Do not beg for new images to appear. Change yourself. Shift the image you hold within. Speak to the universe not as a beggar, but as the rightful heir. Not as one hoping, but as one knowing. Speak with the voice of completion. You do not have to force it. The rose does not strain to bloom. The tide does not push the shore. It is natural for things to respond to the seed they've received. You are that seed. The moment you assume a new reality, you impregnate the universe with instruction. Invisible hands go to work in realms you cannot yet see, crafting the conditions, forming the people, opening the way. But if you interfere, if you doubt, if you uproot the seed with disbelief, you delay the harvest. Leave it planted, water it with faith, and walk on as if it were already done. This is the walk of the awakened. This is the knowing of those who no longer ask, when will it happen, but declare, it has already happened in me, because once it has happened in you, it must happen through you. This is the law. There is a stillness you must learn, not the stillness of inaction, but the stillness of knowing. When storms rage outside, go deeper within. When the world seems deaf to your desires, speak louder in imagination. When the facts scream impossible, close your eyes and see only what is true in you. The shift does not begin with evidence. It begins with alignment. Align your self-concept with the outcome you desire. Become it in thought, in tone, in posture, in feeling. Become it so fully that your very presence starts to disturb the old world and call forth the new. Do this, and your world will melt like wax before the fire. Of your conviction, it will not resist you, for it cannot. What you are conscious of being is the only law in this realm. You cannot cheat this. You cannot pretend halfway. You must embody it. You must live from the end, not toward it. You must feel the fullness of your answered desire so richly that lack becomes unrecognizable. This is not delusion. This is dominion, and you were made for it. The power that formed stars lives in you. The voice that said, "Let there be," now speaks every time you declare, "I am." The same creative breath that hovered over the deep now waits for your next word. What shall you speak? What reality shall you impress upon the formless? You cannot serve two masters. You cannot declare abundance while secretly worshiping lack. You cannot assume love while fearing abandonment. You must choose, and having chosen, remain. This is how the shift becomes permanent, not by emotion, but by decision. Would you build a temple and sleep outside it? Would you be given the keys to the kingdom and never enter? Then do not imagine a life and fail to inhabit it. You must walk into it. Even if the world mocks you, even if your senses betray you, even if your bank account or your mirror says otherwise, persist. Persistence is the test. Those who shift are not always the most talented. They are not always the most educated. They are the most faithful to their inner world. They are loyal to what they saw when no one else believed. They carry the vision like a flame in the dark, and they do not let it die. And when the time is full, when the harvest is ripe, the world must bow to their unseen labor. It will call them lucky. It will call them gifted. But you will know the truth. You will know they talked to the universe, and it answered. And now, so will you. There is a silence that speaks louder than shouting, a stillness more powerful than action, a belief so deep it bends reality. And this is what the world cannot touch. They will measure your past. They will weigh your circumstances. They will look at what you've been, but they will never see what you know. They cannot hear the new world you have spoken in secret. They cannot see the invisible walls of your cathedral built in thought, brick by brick. They cannot feel the vibration of what you've already become. But the universe has heard it, and it is moving. Just because you do not see the roots does not mean the seed is dead. Just because the ground is quiet does not mean the harvest isn't forming. It is. And when it breaks the surface, it will come in ways that silence every doubt you ever dared to speak. Because when you talk to the universe correctly, when you stop pleading and start commanding, the shift is unavoidable. It is law. You are not appealing to a distant power. You are the power, not a weak whisper in the corner of the cosmos, but the living, breathing expression of the creative source itself. And that source answers not desperation, but declaration. Declare the end from the beginning. Assume the result with no physical evidence. Walk as the man, the woman, the being who already holds the promise, not because you hope to convince life, but because you already are convinced. That is the difference between the few who rise and the many who wander. The ones who shift realities do not wait to feel ready. They do not wait to be approved, affirmed, or applauded. They decide inwardly, finally, and completely. And once decided, the world obeys. Your senses will try to betray you. They will show you shadows, not substance. They will echo old stories like ghosts trying to haunt your present. But you are not here to serve shadows. You are here to call forth light. What the eyes see is not the truth. What the ears hear is not the law. The truth is you. The law is I am. And when you say I am, whatever follows must come to pass. So do not use your voice to describe what you hate. Do not speak as one lost in confusion. Do not affirm what drains you, binds you, or belittles your birthright. Speak as one already crowned. Speak from the mountaintop, not the valley. Speak as if heaven itself leans in to obey, because it does. When your words are aligned with the vision, when your heart is aligned with your words, and your being aligned with your heart, nothing in this world can stop the shift. No delay is powerful enough, no opposition great enough, no doubt persistent enough, if you do not permit it. This is how realities are rewritten. This is how destinies are authored anew, not by permission, but by power, not by effort, but by embodiment, not by waiting, but by walking in it now. Do you think you came across this truth by accident, that these words are coincidence, that this knowing was randomly stirred in your soul? You were called into remembrance. This was never new information. It is ancient, eternal, and buried within you from the beginning. You are not learning, you are remembering. And the moment you remember fully, the illusion breaks. The man who remembers he is not a beggar can no longer live on crumbs. The woman who remembers she is royalty cannot keep speaking like a prisoner. And the soul who remembers its divine authorship begins to command reality without apology. You do not need permission to be great. You do not need signs to start. You do not need the world to agree before you shift. All you need is inner alignment. When you are internally sure, reality must externally reflect, not by accident, not by magic, but by law. The law that has never failed, never slept, never missed a single I am that left your lips with conviction. You are the only cause. Everything else, every person, every obstacle, every delay is simply an echo of what you were once being. But now you know. And when you know, you no longer chase, you radiate. So what happens when you stop chasing and begin radiating? The world, once cold and still, begins to move with purpose. People who once overlooked you now can't look away. Doors that stayed closed for years suddenly swing open. What once felt hard now moves toward you with ease. But it is not ease born of laziness. It is ease born of power. The seed does not strain to become the oak. It knows. And you too must begin to know. There is no room for maybe here. No space for lukewarm affirmations or half-hearted assumptions. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to boldness. It responds to certainty. The shift into your desired reality is not something you try. It is something you become. Not a momentary exercise, but a permanent identity. You walk, speak, and move as though it were already true, because it is. And every step you take in that awareness cements your claim in the unseen. Reality doesn't change first. You do. And when you change, reality scrambles to keep up. Think of the great minds who shifted the world by shifting their own. Tesla, who walked with visions brighter than lightning. Ford, who saw a car in every garage when the world saw only horses, Lincoln, who spoke of unity while bullets still flew. They didn't wait for the world to show them what was possible. They spoke it, assumed it, embodied it, until it had to become true. And so must you. You cannot enter a new reality while still clinging to the emotions, habits, and reactions of the old. You cannot be the old man in new clothes. You must become unrecognizable to your past, not by effort, not by trying to fix every flaw, but by rising into the state where those flaws no longer exist. You shift not by fighting shadows, but by turning on the light. You cannot become wealthy by wrestling with the idea of lack. You become wealthy by assuming abundance so deeply that even in silence your very presence speaks prosperity. You cannot become healthy by obsessing over illness. You become healthy by embodying vitality, by walking with the posture and power of one whose cells already sing with strength. You do not shift by waiting for the world to prove you right. You shift by deciding you already are. The world bends to those who do not bend to it. You may ask, how long will it take? But the better question is, how long will you remain as you are? Because the moment you truly shift within, time becomes irrelevant. Circumstances become irrelevant. What once felt distant begins to pull toward you with magnetic force. It begins with feeling not as reaction, but as creation. Do not wait to feel loved. Be love. Do not wait to feel successful. Be success. Do not wait to be chosen. Feel chosen now. For as the greats declared, to be conscious of being anything is to be that which you are conscious of being. Let that truth settle in your bones. You do not become through effort. You become through consciousness. And the one who controls their inner state controls their outer world. Your senses will scream, "This is not real." But remember, they only echo the past. They show you what you used to be, not what you've decided to become. You are not at the mercy of appearances. Appearances are at the mercy of your assumption, and when your assumption is firm, the universe will move heaven and earth to fulfill it. So hold the vision when nothing supports it. Speak the word when no one believes it. Remain unmoved when the wind howls and the skies go black, for that is the very moment reality begins to tremble under your command, because you've spoken to the universe correctly. Not as a beggar, but as the Creator clothed in human form. And now it must respond. And what is the correct way to speak to the universe? It is not with your lips, it is with your awareness. The universe does not hear words, it hears states, it hears the tone of your being. It listens not to what you say in desperation at night, but to what you believe quietly each morning when you rise. You may say, "I am abundant." But if within you burns the ache of lack, the universe responds to the ache, not the phrase. This is why so many remain unchanged. They speak one thing, but feel another. They declare light, but expect darkness. They are like kings dressed as beggars, forgetting the authority they hold, searching for crumbs in a world that was already theirs to command. But you are remembering now. You are learning to speak in silence, to declare with your spine, to proclaim with your posture, to command with your very presence, because you finally understand what you feel yourself to be consistently, confidently, and without contradiction is what you become. It is law, unbreakable, unbending, and it has never failed a single soul bold enough to walk in its truth. So if you want to shift into your desired reality, then you must dare to inhabit it now, before the money arrives, before the love calls, before the opportunity knocks. You must wear the crown before you are seen as royal. You must sit in the high place before they call your name. You must act, think, speak, and walk as though the world has already caught up to the vision you hold. Because the truth is, it always does. All of nature bends toward the bold. Life rearranges itself for the man or woman who refuses to doubt. The invisible becomes visible when you stop waiting for evidence and start becoming the cause. This is not a practice. It is a rebirth. You are not improving the old you. You are letting it die, and in its place a new being rises, formed not of memory, but of vision, formed not from what the world has told you, but from what you decide to be true. This is the ancient secret hidden in plain sight, the truth behind all miracles, all transformations, all success. You do not wait for reality to shift. You shift first. Then the world obeys. The outer reflects the inner, always without fail. Change the pattern of your thoughts, and you change the structure of your world. Change your self-concept, and your circumstances will collapse and rebuild to match it perfectly. If you feel yourself to be powerless, the world will confirm your weakness. If you feel yourself to be chosen, the world will line up to crown you. If you feel yourself to be abundant, opportunity will arrive with a speed that defies logic. Not because you earned it, but because you embodied it. This is the only shift that matters. And once you've made it, nothing can remain the same. I stand now upon the threshold of transformation, knowing that every step forward is a choice to move beyond the form I once wore, a choice to step into the flesh of my vision. I do not speak of what might be possible someday. I speak of what is true now. Vision is not a glimpse of the future. It is the canvas upon which I paint reality with the colors of imagination and conviction. I hold my desired state so strongly in consciousness that it pulls material expression effortlessly toward me. The river flows toward the ocean, not because I demand it. It flows because I know it already belongs there. And so I walk as though the shore has already met me. I breathe as though every breath draws in that which I have imagined. My posture is not lest I appear alert. It is because I am aligned. I do not wait to feel powerful. I claim power in every cell, in every pulse. This is integrity, alignment between what I see inwardly and what is claimed outwardly. I will not be swayed by facts that rose from the old me, for I understand that what is seen today is but the echo of yesterday's assumptions, and I no longer dwell there. My assumptions have shifted, and so must the echo. I no longer plead for opportunity. I root myself in certainty that the opportunity is already mine. I do not hope for breakthroughs. I live within the breakthrough that is already generated by my own calm assumption. This is how rubies rise from the dark heat of the earth, and how springs burst forth where only parched silence laid before. This is how realities shift, not with struggle, but with unwavering knowing. Gratitude is the tensionless thread that weaves the invisible into form. I give thanks now for the fulfillment that will not need proving. I do not wait for what is to be grateful for. I inhale gratitude and exhale abundance, letting the fire of appreciation melt the cold resistance of resistance itself. Here lies a principle few understand. Never worship lack. I refuse to rehearse the absence of what I desire. I refuse to idolize the void. Instead, I praise what is already seen in consciousness. I revere the inner emperor whose procession is hidden, yet I now walk among it. When adversity comes, and it will, I will not waver. Adversity is not punishment. It is the refining fire that passes through me without scorching. I stand in its crucible and let it strengthen the substance of my new identity. Just as steel is drawn from fire, my conviction is tempered by challenge. I stand calm as illusions break apart. I do not scatter, I do not stagger, I do not fear. I stand a witness to the law in action, unmoved by form, but absolutely fulfilled in consciousness. I speak now of discipline, not as drudgery, but as devotion. The discipline to remain in the end is not rigid. It is the fertile hush before the dawn. My mind is my temple. My thoughts march as priests, disciplined, unwavering. The silent ritual is more powerful than any spoken prayer. This discipline is not obedience. It is remembrance. I honor my inner decree. I do not negotiate with doubt. I do not yield to what if. I stand still and strong with my eyes fixed on the vision I already inhabit. And so purpose arises as a silent volcano within me. I am not here to drift. I am here to command. My inner purpose beats like a drum, driving every choice, every breath. I do not wait for inspiration. I am inspired. I do not hunt for reasons. I live from them. Purpose and vision are two halves of the same soul. Without vision, purpose is blind. Without purpose, vision is empty. And so I keep both alight, feeding them with discipline, gratitude, clarity. I learn constantly, for knowledge is the lantern in sacred places. I study not the history of others. I study my own unfolding. Every day grants a new teacher. Every challenge becomes a lesson. I tame fear with understanding. I align emotion with intelligence. I refine the raw matter of self until it sings with clarity. And when fear returns, it is not resisted, it is observed. Then it dissolves before the light of understanding. I do not wage war against it. I simply stand in my knowing, and it vanishes like mist at sunrise. I adapt now as water adapts to the contours of earth. If the path shifts, I shift with it, never losing my inward state. I remain fluid in method, but firm in essence. The willow bends in wind. It does not break. And I too bend without breaking, because I know who I am, and that truth is unshakable. So now I offer this to all who stand at the edge of becoming. You are not bound by your past. You are not at the mercy of your facts. You are the voice that moves the universe. Speak with that authority. Embody that reality. Do not wait for it. Be it. Live it. Walk in it forever. I do not return to the old place, not even in thought. The former things are shadows now. They hold no power over me, for I have declared them finished. The one who once doubted, hesitated, and shrank in fear, I have buried that one. I no longer rehearse what I do not want. I no longer echo the limitations that once disguised themselves as truth. I have shifted, not because the world told me I could, but because I told the world that I already had. And the world, like a mirror bound to reflect only what I accept, had no choice but to rearrange itself. This is the mystery that kings and sages sought to understand. This is the power concealed within parables, wrapped in metaphor, guarded in ancient temples, and whispered by prophets who had no name. This is the power I hold now, not given to me, but revealed the moment I stopped begging and started being. You must stop hoping to change and start refusing to remain the same. This shift, the true shift, is not a flicker of willpower, not a temporary burst of emotion. It is a burial and a resurrection. It is the death of the self who doubted and the birth of the self who knows. It is the holy fire that consumes every lie you ever believed about your limits, your identity, your destiny. And you must let it burn. Burn every apology for your own power. Burn every excuse dressed up as humility. Burn every habit of delay and leave only the stillness that says, "It is done." Let the universe move around your new posture, not because you demand it in words, but because you embody it in silence. Stand like the lighthouse that does not chase ships, but causes them to alter course by its very presence. Assume your state like royalty, not with noise, but with certainty. A king does not convince, he commands. A queen does not plead, she declares. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. And alignment is the highest form of humility, because it means you have finally surrendered to the truth of who you are. Now you understand. The power was never in the doing, it was always in the being. You shift reality not by force, not by effort, but by taking on the form of the new self within, until it becomes so natural, so normal, so alive in you, that the world has no choice but to respond. As within, so without. This is law. So what must you do? You must go quiet. You must go inward. You must stop asking and start assuming. You must stop describing your life and start creating it. You must become deaf to facts and loyal to vision. You must dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until you forget it was ever a wish. Let the old self fade without ceremony. Do not mourn what kept you small. You are not here to repeat history. You are here to write it. You are the script. You are the author. You are the word made flesh. When you speak from the mountaintop of conviction, when you talk to the universe correctly, not in desperation, but in dominion, that is when the shift begins. That is when the curtain parts. That is when the unseen becomes seen, not as miracle, but as law obeyed. You do not need time. You do not need permission. You do not need to earn what you already are. You only need to assume it, to live from it, to become it. Now, let the world say what it will. Let appearances resist for a moment. It does not matter. You have shifted. You have decided. You have chosen the higher ground. And that choice is final. So rise. Rise into the full stature of your inner vision. The crown has been waiting for your head to lift. The kingdom has been waiting for your voice to speak. And the universe has been waiting for you to remember. It always was, and always will be, you. And now, as I walk not by sight, but by inner vision. My footsteps are not guesses, but declarations. I no longer wonder what might come. I know what I have claimed must come. This is no longer about whether I am worthy. It is no longer about how long it takes. It is no longer about outer signs. It is about one thing alone. Have I assumed the state of the one who has already received? And if the answer is yes, then it is done. For what you accept within becomes law without. What you fuse with in imagination becomes form in the world. And the world, my friend, has no choice in the matter. It bends, it bows, it reconfigures, all in obedience to the self-concept you hold without apology. This is how the barren become fruitful. This is how the forgotten become chosen. This is how the overlooked become unstoppable. Not by proving, but by embodying. Not by effort, but by identity. This is how you shift into your desired reality. Not by climbing toward it, but by descending into it, in consciousness, as if it had always been yours. You walk into the room not as the one who hopes, but as the one who knows. And the room recognizes it. People respond differently. Opportunities take form. Paths open. Delays dissolve. And what once seemed distant arrives quietly, effortlessly, naturally, because you finally became the one who could have it. You stopped waiting to be chosen and remembered that you are the chooser. You stopped repeating the story and realized you are the author, not the character. You stopped begging heaven and remembered you are heaven wearing a body. And now you can no longer be talked out of it. You could lose the job, the money, the friends, even the recognition, and yet you remain unchanged. Because the shift is not in what happens around you. The shift is in who you are within. When that shift is made, everything around you eventually falls in line. It must, because the law is this: what is held in imagination with feeling, with conviction, and with consistency must harden into fact. You don't have to believe in magic. You don't even have to understand the process. You only need to become loyal to the inner experience. Protect it, feed it, live in it. That is your only task. The outer world is an echo, and you are the voice. So speak not with words, but with assumption. Speak by living from the state, not toward it. Speak by resting in the vision, not chasing it. And when the world tries to drag you back into doubt, when appearances scream the opposite, smile. Why? Because you know it's working. You know the shift is already in motion. You know the unseen is more real than the seen. And it's only a matter of time before it appears in full glory. You don't panic when you plant a seed and don't see fruit the next morning. You don't scream at the soil for being slow. You understand the law. You trust the process. You honor the seed by remaining faithful to its image, even when nothing has yet broken the surface. That is mastery. That is dominion. That is what separates the few who shape reality from the many who chase it. You are not here to chase. You are here to create. And creation begins with a shift, not outside, but inside. So return to the throne of your own mind. Dwell there. Rule there. And let the kingdom rise to meet its rightful king. Let it be done, not someday, but now. Now hear this, and let it brand itself into your soul. There is no power outside of you, no force, no fate, no invisible hand withholding your desires. You are not waiting for permission. You are remembering your position. And what is your position? You are the center from which all motion begins. You are the root from which all outcomes grow. You are the first cause, the imaginer, the selector, the source. And if you dare to stand there in that knowing, all else will realign. For everything in your world is obedient. Obedient to what? To your assumption, not your effort, not your appearance, not your history. Only your assumption. Assume with conviction, and the stars will bend for you. Assume with certainty, and all timelines collapse into one, the one you've claimed as yours. Let others beg the world for change. Let them pray to the sky, plead to the wind, or wait for the perfect sign. Let them search for the magic formula. But you will go within. You will clothe yourself in the end result. You will feel what you would feel if it were true. And you will do this again and again until it becomes more familiar than your current surroundings. And when it does, reality will follow, for it has no will of its own. It must echo the dominant state of the one imagining it. So if you desire wealth, become the one who already is wealthy. Think as them, move as them, dress your inner speech with their confidence, rest in their peace, feel the quiet certainty of their knowing. If you desire love, be the one who is already loved, not by clinging, not by need, but by radiating wholeness, by being so full of love within that the outer must reflect the fullness. If you desire healing, become the one who is whole. Live from the health, not the illness. Dwell in the vitality, not the pain. Let your inner temple reflect perfection, and your body will conform. This is not denial. This is divine authority. You are not ignoring facts. You are overriding them. You are not delusional. You are deliberate. And those who understand the laws of the mind know the seen is always the past, the unseen. What you feel now, what you accept now, what you embody now, that is the only present. And the present always wins. So if you want to change the future, do not look ahead. Look within. Look into the stillness of imagination and build the world again, brick by brick, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. And do it without asking how. That is not your concern. You are not the builder of bridges. You are the sender of instructions. Your task is not to know the path. It is to dwell in the destination. And trust this, the path will rise to meet your step. Each stone appearing as needed, each door opening in time, each helper drawn like iron to a magnet. Because reality must mirror who you are, not what you wish, not what you say, but who you are. So become it, quietly, fully, faithfully, and hold it. For 30 days, hold it. Speak from it, walk in it, refuse to contradict it. Guard it with everything you are, and watch. Watch the world lose its grip on who you used to be. Watch people forget the old story. Watch the familiar collapse and the impossible rise. And when it happens, when you step into a moment that once lived only in your imagination, you will know. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is not magic. This is law. The law is simple. It does not hesitate. It does not compromise. It does not make exceptions based on merit or morality or time. It simply yields to the one who commands it correctly. And command does not come with strain. It does not shout, does not panic, does not plead. True command is quiet, still, absolute. It speaks once and knows it is done. So speak once within yourself. Speak the truth you choose to make real, and then rest. Not because you're lazy, not because you're passive, but because the seed has been planted, and your resting is faith. You do not dig up the seed each morning to see if it's growing. You do not beg the roots to take hold. You plant, you water, and you expect. The one who assumes the wish fulfilled walks differently. They are no longer chasing. They are aligning. They are not reacting to the world. They are shaping it in silence, and every moment is an opportunity to return. Return to the state. Return to the knowing. Return to the feeling. Even if the world mocks you, even if reality shows no sign, even if every outer fact tells you it cannot be, return anyway. Not because you're stubborn, but because you're sovereign. And when doubt creeps in, and it will, remind yourself, the outer world is always late. It is always playing catch up to who you already decided to be. So give it time to adjust, but do not adjust your truth for it. Be bold enough to remain loyal to the unseen. And when nothing appears to change, keep walking. And when everything appears to crumble, keep assuming. And when your own thoughts betray you, forgive them and assume again, because the only thing required of you is persistence in the assumption. That's it. All else is handled. All else is details. All else is shadows rearranging themselves around the light you now hold. You are not trying to shift. You are shifting each time you think from the end, each time you feel the reality of your desire, each time you deny the former limitations and walk in your new identity. The universe is rearranging itself to match your command, and the shift is not coming. It's happening, not in the thunder, not in the drama, but in the silence, in the invisible, in the still place within you where decisions are made and faith is sealed. Speak to the universe, not with words, but with assumption, for that is the only language it understands. Not begging, not bargaining, just being. And when you become it, the universe becomes it too. That is the secret, and it was never hidden.